Do 2008 F-150. And apparently, this fella tells me that the parking brake dinger goes off every 30 minutes. So I'm not really sure there, but we're gonna see. Apparently it goes off when you start it, and then continues to go off as you drive it. All right, so there's no warning messages now. Let me just see. Of course, the parking brakes, seized right up. So 08. I don't see any brake light coming on, even with just a little bit that I can push it. Seatbelt guy light is on. That goes off. Comes on. All right, let's take her for a little toot here. See what the thunder he's talking about. I'm not gonna drive it for a half an hour to. Oh, just a minute, Mrs. O needs us. Okay, let's go. Okay, so that's the warning we're getting. No lights are on the dash. Okay, that's interesting. I'm gonna put it back in park. Okay, so we're in park, so this definitely is not a parking brake warning. So that's pretty interesting. Okay, so you guys heard that. Like I say, nothing on the dash flashing. Gauges look normal. All right, interesting. We're gonna just take and head back to the shop. I'm gonna unhook my seatbelt. The little seatbelt light guy didn't come on. Trying to find some clues here, folks, as to what this warning is. I don't work on enough Fords to know right offhand. All right, we're gonna stop here. I'm gonna put it in park. I'm gonna shut it off. Key back on. Because I think that dinger we hear right now, I think that's the seatbelt dinger. So I'm gonna leave my seatbelt off. The seatbelt light guy is on. Sounds like the front end's about ready to fall right off from underneath it. Alright, so that's interesting. Put my seatbelt off. Seatbelt lights on, but we're not getting the seatbelt dinger. So here we're gonna stop again. Throw it in park. Take and put my seatbelt on here. Seatbelt light is out. Take off down the road again here. See if we get any dinger action. Interesting. We're gonna have to do some looking to see what that chime is and when these things chime. Sounds like it's coming from the cluster. I'll have to learn a little bit about that. But it is awful interesting. When I take my seatbelt off, the light doesn't come back on. I'm gonna pull over up here and do that one more time. Just shut it off, start it back up with the seatbelt light on, just to see if it's the same dinger, which I don't believe it is. Usually these Fords are pretty annoying with their chime. Okay, my seatbelt light's on now. So let's, oh, now it's back off, so that's interesting. Okay, so there's something funky going on here in regards to the seatbelt light, because now the seatbelt light is off, even though it was on there for a second. All right, seatbelt light is on. We're gonna take back off with it here. Maybe it has to get up to a certain speed before it does something with the seatbelt light. So as I drive along here, I see the seatbelt light is out. It goes on and off on its own. And the seatbelt, oh, here it goes. Okay, so the seatbelt light is now on, but you guys could hear that. That we had two different audible tones there. We have this tone that's going off, plus we had what I would refer to as their normal seatbelt dinger. That one, right there. Yeah, so it sounds like we had two chimes at once there. We had our seatbelt dinger and this, whatever this one here is, which that's the one we need to figure out. Just curious. I'm going to keep going. The next time that goes off, I'm going to put my seatbelt on. Okay, it's going off. I put my seatbelt on. The seatbelt light went out, but the dinger's still going. Okay, so now we know a little something. Okay, let's go back to the shop. So this is where I wish I was a little bit more familiar, brand familiar anyways. I'm sure Brian Ford Tech Mech and Loco would know that dinger right off the bat. I'm not familiar enough with Ford's audible warnings to know the tone difference from one to the next. I know that higher pitch tone, I guess if you will, the bing, 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 that one, that's your seatbelt dinger. But I also see right now I have my seatbelt off and the little guy's not lit up. That seems to kind of come and go. So I think there's, you know, a different problem there, but definitely not the problem this guy's, you know, complaining about. So I'm gonna go do a little looking at service data to see if I can find, you know, the differences in the audible tones here, find out who sets off what, and then we're gonna at least know what system to look at. But yeah, nothing's coming up on the dash, no warning lights, all the gauges look normal. You know, so there could be a bulb out on something, you know, it could be trying to warn us for something. So perhaps we can just do a bulb check. But I'll do some looking in service data and let you guys know what I find and what direction we're gonna take this thing. So the other thing I'm going to do when I sit here is I'm just going to leave it key on, engine off. And while I'm out looking at service data, I'm just going to keep my ears peeled and see if we hear it, you know, make this noise just sitting here, key on, engine off, because that'll give us some clues too. This guy just went to get out. Listen to this. Okay, so that's the door ajar beeper, but the door ajar light on the dash does work. I can see it functioning. Let's see if it works with this door, because I wonder. Okay, it does work with that door, and then the back doors, they don't have any dongers on them, right? No. So that's something to watch. Let's take it for a rip down the road there, bud, and see if when we open the door, if the door light lights up here on the dash. See, do our dome lights do work. But that was quite a repetitious. You know what, I'm not going to do that because the donger that we were getting was very repetitious. Never mind. Forget anything I just said. Key on, engine off. It's beeping away at us. One thing I do notice, we're sitting here key on, engine off, is we have oil pressure. So I shut the key off, oil pressure gauge goes back to 0, turn the key on, our oil pressure gauge goes up, coolant temp is up, battery, everything else looks normal. So there's clues we've gathered. So the customer thought that it was something to do with this parking brake, which now we know that it's not. It has nothing to do with that. We know the door dinger is the same thing. That one is for your headlights and your seat belts. So we just need to figure out what that deep tone is for, and we know it has nothing to do with the parking brake because key on, engine off, vehicle sitting stationary, it's not doing it. So there's all the clues I can give you. You know what I know. So that's where we're at. So I plugged into it before I got too far, and I did see, here I'll show you. So here's the code. There's not a lot of modules on this thing, but in the instrument cluster, there is a code for the brake fluid warning circuit, I think it was here. Let's go in here. Oh, the cluster's over here doing its thing. I'll go in here and get the codes for you, but Because that's one thing when I did a key check, I didn't see the brake light. Like right now, all the lights are on the dash, and I don't see the one for the brake. Perhaps that's why the guy thought there was something going on with his brake fluid, or his brake, parking brake, because perhaps the warning light was coming on. Okay, so here we go. We have oil pressure switch failure. Which one was I seeing here? Courtesy switch. Yeah, so these are all of them. This 1187 brake fluid level sensor input open circuit. So that's interesting. What I want to do is I want to see if does that light work, because it's interesting. I don't see it on the dash there. Let's see, brake lamp. No, we don't need live data. I just want to see if it works. I'll toggle it on. And nothing. The dash is dead. I don't see anything. So let's make sure this function of our scan tool works. Let's go to, I don't know, where do we want? Ford, Lowe's, ABS warning lamp. We don't need data. I just want to turn it on, and there it is. So the ABS light lights up down there. You guys can't see it, but trust me. And then I guess we could go to all warning lamps. We don't need data. We'll turn that on. Dash lights up like a Christmas tree. No brake warning light though. So I'm curious if we go into live data. So let's go. So yeah, this is just all the gauges and stuff. If we go to live data, is there a brake warning lamp here? Brake fluid level low. So it shows it as brake fluid level low. So that's interesting. That would definitely give us a dinger. I think Ford is usually pretty good about ABC order here, and they are. So I don't see anything indicating which warning light is on. Definitely not one for brake voltage, or battery voltage, brake fluid level low. So that's interesting. It's in diagnostic mode. It shows the fuel level. Just kind of scroll through these here with you. It says our oil pressure switch. We have OK pressure. Lamps. So yeah, not a lot of great data here. However, this here I'm a little bit concerned about. I'm sure. I mean, this came from another shop, so I'm certain at this point somebody must have looked at this. Let's see here. That was pretty easy. Popped the hood. It was unplugged. And let's see here. It still says low, but we also had that code for it. I'm going to clear the codes out of the cluster, and I'm going to see, because these clusters are pretty notorious for going bad in these trucks. So I'm going to take and clear that out. I see we still don't have a brake warning lamp. I'm going to see if we still have that circuit code for it. It was unplugged, so somebody has probably been down this route. I assume the park and brake pedal is probably unplugged also, even though it's seized up. Let's see. So we just have the oil pressure switch fault, ignition key and circuit fault, courtesy switch fault. Interesting here. I'll go back into live data, and our brake fluid level still shows low, but we were getting that 1187 code. I'm curious if that takes a little while to come back. I did see the little float in there was up, and the fluid is full, obviously. I'm going to take it for a drive. I want to see if that 1187 comes back. I got an idea. I thought this trim cover just popped off these, but I was wrong. There is a screw down here in the bottom corner. I think I remember from the past working on one of these, different problem, and I remember just wiggling the freaking connector on it, and the thing went haywire. And I think that's probably what we're going to find here. It's just it's been quite a long time. Like I said, I don't work on a ton of Fords. Let's take and get this thing down here a little bit. I believe this, yeah, I was going to say, I thought this just came off, and then the connector's right up here on top. We got the adjustable pedal switch here we need to unplug. There. So then I'll set, oops, got the hazards on. Okay. So the key in fault, so some of you guys might be asking, about these other faults. The key in fault, that's a super common Ford problem. That's down here. And if we wiggle the key, we can watch on live data. Well, it'll say key in, key out. So that's goofed up. The oil pressure switch, different issue. That's broke in the sense that it's always reading oil pressure. The courtesy switch, I believe, is for the dome lights here. And I see that doesn't work when I flick it up. I'm going to do key on, engine off. And then, oh, look at that. So that's flicking the dome lights and the airbag light. Oh yeah, because I guess that's one light we... Okay, I didn't notice that. So we don't have an airbag light. Let me show you what's going on here. So I'm going to wiggle this connector right here. Oh, see, there's the airbag light right there. So that's just wiggling that connector. I'll tell you what, let's use our scan tool here. Let's go like this. We don't want live data. Oh, look at that, brake fluid level okay. And that's just by wiggling. Let me just wiggle this some more. Oh yeah, so I'm wiggling the connector now, and look at that. Wiggle, wiggle, and you can see the brake fluid level is going from okay to not okay. So, which I've sent these clusters out to be repaired. I don't know if it's a solder joint issue. I guess we could pull it out and have a look. I don't know if it's a solder joint issue, because I believe if we look at this, let's see if I can get this with my meat nugget here. You know, I think everything always looks good. The pins are nice, you know, they're in good shape. I don't think we ever find an issue there, but I do remember running across this in the past. So brake fluid level low, and I wiggle. So it feels like probably a solder joint. I'm not your circuit board guy, my guy. I'll tell you that right now. However, we kind of have a little look. Let's see if we... Brake fluid, okay. I couldn't get it to hold still long enough to... So brake fluid, okay. So that's interesting. Right now, the brake fluid level says okay, but we're still getting the beeping. So that's interesting. Of course, I don't know if once it starts its sequence of beeps, perhaps it doesn't stop. But we do know we have a issue here. Probably stupid for going after this right now, but it sounds all too familiar. Either case, if we send this cluster out to get fixed, I'm going to need a part number off it. So I'm going to take and pop it out here. Oh shoot, that's right. Totally forgot about those. So I'm assuming, because this is the connector we were wiggling right here, and of course there was some screw. I took these 3 screws out right here, you know, and all we're doing is just barely wiggling this thing. So I'm thinking, I don't think I can get some of the dust off this thing. I'm not really, like I said, I'm not a big circuit board guy. You guys know that. We fix all the other stuff. But let's have a look. I just want to see if I can see. You know, I've done, like way back in the day, we used to do the old Dodge clusters, like in the minivans. They would have a really obvious broken spot on the circuit board here where the pins went through. And I'm hoping to be able to see this here, where the pins stick through there, and I don't see any cracks around them. So I'm just using the exact size male pin that is on the cluster, and I'm just going to go down every single hole here. I don't even care what they go to. I'm just making sure that I have good pin tension on every one of them. That one must be empty. Yeah, I got one empty one there. So far so good. They feel great. Yep, so they feel good. Like I say, there are some blanks that are obviously blank. I mean, there's nothing, you know, nothing in the hole, but Yeah, I'd say pin tension wise, we feel good. I'm going to do a little poking just to see if there is a common solder joint that goes bad in it. I might even call United Radio. Yeah, there's a few blanks in this one. Call United Radio and ask them. Sometimes you can talk to the techs there and just see. If not, I'm just going to plan on sending it in to get it repaired. So as I do fiddle with this, you know, obviously we get the flickering dome lights, and then I did see the oil pressure gauge drop down. You know, then we get the airbag light coming on and off. We have a brake light that doesn't function. I'm going to quote the fella on the cluster and or getting this thing fixed. I was kind of hoping it was just, you know, a bad solder joint over there or something. Because it's quite obvious the problem is on this side of the circuit board, and it's far beyond my capabilities as just a, you know, a general repair shop. But however, I do know if I put a cluster in it and program it, it's going to take care of this issue. But okay, see there, the oil pressure gauge just went down. So that's interesting. Yeah, I think his cluster's going wonky, and before we get too deep into this, I think this is what we need to do. Just in my opinion, that's the way I'm going to handle this, folks. I know the problem's in the cluster. You know, we're not dealing with a loss of power, loss of ground, or a pin fitment issue or anything like that. It's something on the circuit board. And instead of me goofing it all up any more than I possibly have, we're going to send it in and get it repaired. I don't know if the guy will go for it or not. Perhaps he'll want to, you know, put a used one. We'll do a PMI on that. Maybe he'll want to get a new one from Ford. I don't know. But I do know I can't fix it. So, another thing I do know, bad transition here, fella, is that you guys should go in that comment section. Questions, comments, concerns. Let me know if you've seen this problem on Fords. I remember running across this in the past, various symptoms. Nothing with the warning buzzer, though, but for various lights it didn't work, backlighting, you know, other issues like that that I've come across. So, not surprised to see that it's a cluster on this, like 04 to 08 vintage or whatever Fords, you know, these are. So anyhow, comment section, questions, comments, Insta, Facebook, y'all know. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.